panel questions, then please come forward, grab a seat, or shout from the back. So this will involve audience participation, I hope. Now, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Simon, and then I'm going to do the driving.
Alright, hello everyone, hi. First question.
No, we're going to start with who.
Who is everybody?
Who is everybody?
That was so slick.
We're starting slick. Here we go.
Very nice.
Oh, look, we've got a fade out, fade. Okay, so it's a night of chaos, and let's start with this one. Who is this person?
Hello, I'm Simon, and you all know who I am. That'll do.
They don't know who you are.
So until recently, Nigel, I can't believe you made me do this.
Well, you volunteered.
No, so I started 3D London a long time ago, 17 years ago. It's a really long time. The only good thing about that was when I started it, I weighed more than I do now. So I've got older, but I now weigh less. We can move on.
Okay.
Hi Matt, how you doing?
Hello.
So
You guys got a microphone, you need to share it. You need to share the
One
microphone.
microphone. Roll them off. You need to switch off. Like this. Yeah.
Right, so Matt, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do, please.
I'm a senior artist at Factory 15. I hope to one day be a veteran visualiser. I think I still need about 5 years of experience, and then I think I'll be there with you up in front. I've worked across a number of different studios, from in-house, Cityscape to D-Box, and now finally my home at Factory 15, where we work on a number of interesting creative projects, which we'll pick up shortly.
Thanks, Matt. So we're going to look at that, but again, now I've got a microphone, I'm going to be even louder. Can you please be quiet at the back? Because we've got really good guests, and it's not nice to talk over them.
let's look at Factory
let's look
15.
at Matt's reel, please. Thank you.
Go Matt!
Okay, so that's what you call a showreel. I noticed the words came up halfway through. It said fantastic. You couldn't fit fucking fantastic on the screen at the same time.
We'll have to edit it later.
Okay. Giada, please introduce yourself and tell us about yourself.
Okay, I'm Giada, I'm from Assembly Studios. Actually became the new art director recently, so if anyone knows about Assembly Studio, we are a studio, archviz studios located in London, in Wapping, and we do everything about archviz from CGIs, still images, VRs, interactive models, Unreal models, and 360 images, everything. And that's it, basically. I'm Italian, if anyone. I'm not the only one in the panel. Yeah, Italian community.
So there's going to be some truths told tonight.
Let's start.
Here's your showreel. Oh my goodness, that was incredible. Thank you very much. We're going to talk about everything I see when we've seen everything. Vittorio.
Hi.
My goodness, I'm looking forward to your presentation.
Well, I'm Vittorio Bonapace. I am a digital artist from Italy. I moved in London and I work as an architectural visualiser. Been senior first, then art director later. And now, after studying Academy of Fine Arts in Italy, I've been back to my tracks, and I'm basically doing digital art and exhibiting into museums and selling as NFTs.
Nice, thank you.
Artificial intelligence 1,000 times smarter than we are. It will be moving at speeds that are 100,000 times as fast as we think, and it will be digesting information and data 1,000,000 times more than we can. What is artificial intelligence? There are a lot of confused ideas about it. So a lot of people ask, when is it going to happen? When is artificial intelligence going to be smarter? 50 years, 30 years, some say 5 years. I say it already has surpassed us.
Woo! Thank you. Vittorio raising the ugly head of AI there. We're going to talk about that. Louis, come on man, blow us away.
No pressure. So I'm Luis Inciarte. I've been coming to 3S for 12 years. Used to be at Hayes Davidson.
Old school.
Unfortunately. Well, I'm the responsible person for the train wreck that is Narrativ, and we are in the business of visual communication. So, I guess that's...
So, 4 disgustingly overcompetent showreels there. I can't believe my picture is on the same page. I've got nothing. Right, Nigel, we've got questions for these chaps.
Okay, let's start
And,
with
I
this
would like
one.
to point out that, you know, from the showreels you've just seen, these are people worth listening to. It's quite exciting to hear what they've got to say tonight. So, thank you.
Right, let's start with round 1.
Round 1, you're going to have to put the questions up. Right, okay. If you knew then, well, I'm not going to do that. Everyone can read. Right, so, who, stick your hands up. Who's going to start? Lewis. It's going to be Lewis. Okay, there you go. Thank you.
Be patient. I am an extremely impatient person, and you need to go through the journey to get what you want.
So maybe explain a little about when you started. I mean, what were you doing when you kind of started out on this journey? Was it kind of solid archviz? It was, what were you up to?
Well, I mean, I am originally from Venezuela, so my journey started not in London. Moving to London was quite a bit of a journey 12 years ago. So obviously standards in Venezuela are not the same as London, but
I'm going to interrupt you rudely.
Yes.
I'm allowed to, I'm the host.
Absolutely.
I want a hands up of people who moved to London to do this kind of thing. Right.
50%.
Right, so you're not alone. It's a good place to do it.
Absolutely. So I guess the first few years were getting to the London standard. Then it was, once you get to the London standard, then it's becoming the best artist you can be. And in my case, at that point afterwards, was learning how to manage people, learning how to manage large teams, and also learning about business, and then learning how to successfully run some sort of organization, because at that point was helping run Hayes Davidson. Then having the quote unquote rock star freelance life. So you kind of you go the anti-corporate life. You work 6 months, you earn a lot of money. I'm only gonna work 6 months, and then I'm gonna have a lot of free time, and then kind of realizing that it's quite a sustainable sort of way of existing, and then it's creating something new with all the experience and the learning that you've sort of gone on through in that journey, and then being patient once again, developing the new thing.
Cool. So to expand on that a little bit, I mean, how much more do you think you've been able to achieve working with a team rather than just freelancing? What difference does that make?
Oh, it's exponential. Like the difference for me was going from trolling through forums, and then being able to be sat down next to a very talented person, and then asking a question is like, oh, how do I do this? And then being able to harness the experience of someone else, and being able to learn from that. So that is, I guess, commonplace for a lot of you, since you're from maybe a slightly different generation, some of you. But that is quite important, that sort of environment, that exchange of information, and also just feeling inspired by other people is a very important thing. Because what we do is a passion, and it is amazing, and it's not really a job. It's more of a getting paid for doing what you love.
Exactly, very nice.
But you fucking need your batteries recharged every now and again. So that's why this is important as well.
What do you reckon, Vittorio?
I think I like to not knowing what I in front of my path. So basically, all my life, all my artistic life has been exploring things out and bouncing from a direction to another one. I work with fashion studios, I work with art, I work with architectural visualization. I had many different experiences in many different fields, and I think the most thing I like in my life is making mistakes and going against a wall and breaking my head and then ask what I've done wrong and then what I can do to improve myself. Maybe sometimes I'm very harsh and hard to myself.
So do you regret anything that you did? Did you spend
Nothing.
ages doing something and then...
Nothing at all. I fucking love it. Yeah.
That was a mediocre round of applause. But I kind of agree that everyone is in this room because it's a job that's a great fun. It's not even a job, it's just fun to do. So yeah, it's a good point raised.
Would you climb Everest again?
I will reach the top this time. If I can, yeah. I think sometimes it's cool to, it's an easy question like this. Sometimes it's easy to ask ourselves, what if I could go back? But then that's the point, that is lovely and beautiful, the mystery, what you don't know, that's it.
Jade, if you knew then what you know now, what would you do? Giada, sorry, I'm going to say.
Jade is fine.
Jade,
No one
sorry,
gets my
Giada.
name at first time. But my name is Giada, just in case.
Giada.
I think my path is probably more shared with lots of Italians here, because most of the people who are here, maybe they're coming from the master we did, which is Madi. I think it's I guess at least 80% of the Italians are coming from there, and it's all about we've been all architects and we've been working as architects for a few years, and I guess everyone at some point arrived to like a kind of mind-blowing time where you say like, I don't like that. So the only thing you could do is just trying to find something which I felt more creative. So to me it was like a lightning moment, because I was just searching on internet and I got this advertised about this archviz master. I didn't know back then, which was around 6 years ago, that archviz or anything about rendering was an actual job. I always thought it was like something that people from architectural studios are asking you to do it because they don't trust you enough to make executive drawings. It was always the thing I was liking the most. So for me it was, okay, I can actually make a career out of it. And then after Madi, I just wanted to move to the place where I thought I could actually become an artist. And of course it was London, because we know that London is one of the best places to do that. So I just moved here and started my career, and I think it was the best decision of my life, because I actually like what I do every day. It's true. Like when you do what you like, it doesn't feel like a job. And then like making it together with the whole team and other people is just making it even easier and nicer. That's why I really like to work in an office and sharing everything you do, because I think it's pushing each other to do better, it gives you ideas and a bit more like creativity about everything. So I think that's it. That what I didn't know back then, it was like, this is a job and I can actually enjoy it. So
That's a great answer. Matt?
No pressure, man. Last one.
Follow that. Well, I think echoing on the sentiment that this is a job we all do for passion in many ways is to be mindful of that. At least if I'm asking myself what I know now, very little have I looked at the work that I've done at 2 a.m. in the morning, 9 o'clock the next day, and liked what I see. It's usually the work that I've ended up redoing, and I can redo it in 30 minutes rather than the 5 hours it's taken me to do that work in the evening. So it's commonplace for us to know that this is a job we love doing, and I'm grateful entirely for the fact that I'm not sure since I started this job I've ever stopped myself to look at the clock. It's almost like, oh, it's 6 o'clock already. I can't believe the day's already gone. But also to keep following that itch. The best parts of my career have always been to keep pushing the parts that I'm most interested in. The parts that are moving what's next. There's always that next evolution to the creative work that we can do. And then we're at incredibly exciting times, I'm sure we'll get on to, as to really, even with architecture, what with our skills we're able to bring to the field of creativity and advertising and marketing as a whole, not just through architecture, but through a 3D creative industry. So really looking forward to the next few years and where we can go from there.
Nice, thank you. Nigel, am I allowed to answer any of these questions?
You're hosting.
So you've all come up with beautiful, creative, life-inspiring answers. I've got, maybe I'm a bit dull, but I would say the thing that if I knew 17 years ago what I knew now, is as fantastic as the job is, it's a business, and you're going to work in an office, and you're going to work with lots of different people, and you're going to have to get on with them. And I think definitely worth thinking about is that side of your job. It's that as much as you love doing it and you create these amazing showreels that we've seen, is a business, and it's collaborative, and you have to get on well with your clients and your teammates. And I think the main thing I've learned is that it's a collaborative effort. You've got to really kind of work together with a whole bunch of people, and that's how great work is done. You've got to team up with people. What's the next question? Woo!
Round 2. Audience to silence.
Wait, we only have one.
It comes next.
Right, okay. All right, so
Pick a topic.
well, I'm going to pick a topic because I was chatting with Matt about. Sorry, I don't know who I was chatting about it.
Spoilers.
I've had 4 pints. Sorry. So I wondered, like a whole bunch of people here are kind of archviz. That's the way to go. But I wondered. I'm going to ask the panel what they think about Midjourney specifically. And I don't want any shouting, screaming, or throwing pints around, but I'd really love to know what you think. Oh, Nigel's just told me that's the next question. Oh my God, I'm good. I'm so good.
Before you go, does any of the audience have anything that they... It's a topic.
Oh, so wait, so this is something that someone else asks and he gets
So, audience, ask it, shout out a topic.
Right. So forget that.
Apart from Midjourney.
Someone stick their hand up and ask a great question, please.
No one going.
No, my question was great. So
Right,
we'll
let's
go
move
with
on to the next one. We'll do round 3.
Yeah, so indeed.
I had something to say actually.
that. You need a microphone then.
Sorry, John. Do you want to take a question?
So let's see what Matt says. Okay.
I'm not. Hello? No, it's like.
No, the button is a switch.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, why we shouldn't avoid Midjourney?
No, because it was round 3.
No, sorry. You can talk about it.
Now you can talk about it. Now you can talk about it. Yes, talk about it. Talk about why Midjourney is good.
Okay, no, so sorry. So I distracted you all.
Yes,
So
sorry.
is industry change inevitable? And I mentioned Midjourney because I think that's having a huge impact. If it's not now, it will do in 2 years. I want to know how you guys think, not just Midjourney, but all kinds of different processes like kind of what I would describe as below the line visualization. So it's not high-end visualization, it's architects doing their own stuff, whether it be in Unreal or Twinmotion or SketchUp. SketchUp's been going for a while, but how's that going to change? And you know, is it inevitable? I think the question is daft because it is, but I would be really interested to know how you guys think it's going to move forward and how the guys in this room, how the people in this room can embrace change.
I think I was waiting for the AI for a long time. I always been in the past like 6-7 years. I was waiting for this moment to come, and it won't be so fast. It won't be 1 year, but maybe in 2025 we will be able, inside Corner Render or V-Ray or 3ds Max, to integrate AI. Maybe be able to ask the AI to train masks for the post-production, or have something which is intelligent and interact with the way we create post-production, the way we create mood boards, so it's gonna change massively everything. He has already massively changed the industry right now. Even in digital art, there's a ton of artists using Midjourney. It's risky for me because the language is the same for many artists right now, but I still think it's a great tool for creating references, for creating inspirations, for create something which our mind. We have sometimes in our mind something, but we are not able to translate correctly, and this is a tool which can help us to arrive there, to get the right direction. But in a way, it's scary at the same time because it kind of floods the language for many artists. So yes, be used carefully. That's my point.
I do think it's a bad question, and I didn't write. I'm really sorry, Nigel. But industry change is inevitable. We're working in an industry that is less than 20 years old, 30 years old. It doesn't matter. It's a super young industry. It's been changing since I started in it, and it's exciting. So maybe if I slightly change the question, Giada, I mean, what are you looking forward? Sorry to dump this on you, but what are you looking forward to? What changes are you looking forward to? What do you think could change for the better for the way you do your role?
Well, first thing for sure, like Midjourney or any other tool are tools. Like, I think it's scary on one side because it's becoming easier to just use those things, but there's always a difference because behind that there's an artist that makes the difference. So in some ways, like, I'm not scared about AI or any other tool to replace what we do in a way that we are artists and we kind of plan what is going to happen. There's always an eye behind it, which is irreplaceable for now, I guess, it's irreplaceable by technology, because we can have as many tools as possible, or the newest version of V-Ray, Corona, or any other software, but still the way we use it is what makes the difference. So in these ways, I'm not really scared about that. But still, like, the more the technology is evolving, the more easier it's going to be our job. But still, it's going to be our job, not like the technology job. So I think, like, I'm expecting that to become faster, so we can even produce more and in a faster way, more efficient way, with nicer results and everything, because we saw the industry change. I started 6 years ago, for example, and what we were able to produce 6 years ago is not comparable with what we can produce now. But still, what makes an image different from the others, or what it makes it successful, it's always who thought and designed the image behind it. Image or animation, whatever it is. So I hope the industry is going to evolve into making all the processes faster, but still, like, the artistry behind it is going to be always the same, I think.
That's a great point. I think the way the industry is, evolved, the way 3D started, it's turned into, I think, at the moment it's starting to turn into a pencil. It's kind of just something you can pick up and do something creative with, whereas for a long time it's been complicated and it's been a big issue. I'm going to skip to, you've got a microphone, I'm going to ask Lewis, because you did some Midjourney and you did some Midjourney to 3D on there, which is pretty cool. I've been doing kind of the same thing, not quite so moody, but what do you think about Midjourney and how has it helped you with your creative process at the beginning?
Okay, so specifically Midjourney. I think Midjourney, like Vittorio said before, and Giada as well, it's a tool, as any other. I don't think at the moment, as it is, it's going to replace the actual bespoke nature of jobs that need to be done in a very specific and precise way to what the requirements are. But it will create, I think, a sort of subset of, or like a segmentation of the market. There's going to be stuff that is more, you see in design now. You can go to a website, you can, input a few little prompts, you get a logo. That's enough for some people. Some people go for the big, some people go to Pentagram, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they get the actual bespoke, specific thing that they want. It's freeing in many ways, but it kind of, like for us at least, it's a source of bespoke inspiration. You can input specific prompts and see what the algorithm sort of props up with. And then based on that, you can actually feel inspired. It's like an advanced version of a Pinterest, let's say, right? Everyone's here is well, I don't know, most people probably are used to Pinterest boards.
Third person that said that to me tonight.
Yeah, so you can do a bespoke version of something that doesn't necessarily exist, get inspiration from that, and then take that into your own hands at the moment, right now, in the year 2022 that we live in. And then sort of progress from there. Like, from the point of view of us as a studio, we've been using AI for a while now. Like, if it's FaceApp, for example, like instead of worrying too much about what a 3D asset looks like from a certain distance, you are just, instead of having to like, it's on a case-by-case use scenario. Let's say sometimes you have a fantastic sort of sculpt of a body of someone, it looks amazing, but the face and the hair don't look that great.
That sounds like me in the morning.
No judging here, sir.
Amazing body.
It's the face and the hair, that's the rough part. But it's like, for example, like that's the unnatural part. It could be a bit clumpy and stuff. So traditionally speaking, what you would do, or at least what I've kind of done in the past, is you go to a stock website, you find something that looks quite similar, and then you enhance what's there. Now with FaceApp, you can actually just have the same base, do a little crop of the thing, have a high res output of that, treat it, bring it back in, and Bob's your uncle, job done. You can get it looking very natural. You have upscalers, you have denoisers, you have so many things that actually enhance what we do. I don't think it's a case of being negative and everyone is like crying wolf and now we're out of the job and everything. Like,
No. I'm certainly not looking for negative because I think we're lucky. We're right at the sharp end of it.
This is
super exciting.
Yeah. Like it's never been a better time to do what we do. Like when I started, trees, vegetation, everything was 2D. Like it was heavily Photoshop based. Now it's such a luxury to kind of bring stuff into, I can't even remember I don't do it, but some of the team do. Animate trees and get things looking with the right density and the amount of leaves and everything, and have these motions that correspond to like wind movements, and then you get Anima Now, which have all these like amazing 4D people that have deforming fabrics and everything. And they also use AI-based algorithms trained to take the scans that they do, transform them, and have a really quick output within the hour that they can preview. I mean, at the moment, it's only positive. All the things that we're doing is just pro artist. You remove a lot of the technicality, and you're actually freed to use your mind's eye and just keep focusing on the art direction and making the best work you can.
So Matt's been sitting there thinking about how he's going to ask this question, and I'm going to change it. So Factory 15, the thing I've always loved about Factory 15, and I can remember when the guys basically finished university, they came and presented at 3DS London a long time ago. And the Royal Mail, the Royal Post thing is fucking incredible. And those guys have just done really well. So what I'm excited about, what I want to ask you about is So Factory 15 for me, the most exciting work they do is kind of NPR, non-photorealistic stuff. So I want to know if you think that as software has become so much easier to create photorealistic images, I mean, where does something, there's feedback, sorry.
Keep going.
Careful.
I'm going to keep going, right? Just that one there, right?
Yeah.
Just finish up.
So what are the opportunities, there to do something that's kind of like skipping mid-journey, it's skipping kind of easy presets like Twinmotion, Unreal, all that kind of stuff. Do you think there's going to be, I'm hoping you say yes, but do you think, what's the opportunities there for artists to kind of bring something else to what we're doing at the moment?
Start with yes.
Yes. For sure, I think a lot of the work that we're doing, we're using Midjourney in a number of different ways. For pitch decks, for early concepts, ideas, placeholders in the work that we're producing for creative pitches. It just provides a placeholder of which we can come back to, iterate on as a tool. To use an overdone analogy, we all have a perfectly good camera these days in our pockets that we all walk around with, but that doesn't make everyone a world-class photographer. It's photorealistic, as Louise will point out right here. The photo that it takes is probably a crap one. I'm not going to print it, I'm sorry. But as a whole, we've got a way in which we can use photography and these tools to enhance and use the artistic skill to better the work that we're doing. So to answer the question about the photorealism, I think it perhaps echoes some sentiments with art over the years. We've had this journey over from photorealism to more stylized and abstract over the years, and as I see already, there's a certain, I wouldn't go so far as to say hatred in the community, but Midjourney definitely has a look that people find themselves overdone with, overplayed. It's improved a lot with iterations, but a lot of the work that we're doing these days is photorealistic and more stylized. And getting some of these original concepts through Midjourney allows us to just get ourselves back into that more playful, creative fashion that we haven't usually been able to do in the world of traditional architecture. It's something quite freeing to get back to something which is, for Midjourney's benefit specifically, is far more art directed. DALL-E 2, other things still exist in a world in which I don't necessarily see DALL-E 2 having an obvious style. Midjourney definitely has a look. So it'll be interesting with that and other AI tools which bring images to 3D, that maybe it's less a restriction on the whole composite image, but assets that we can generate and videos we can generate from those tools.
Thank you. So Jordan, sitting here, very calm, from Chaos Group. I'm going to ask you the question. You're not on the panel, but what's going to change? What are Chaos Group working on? What are we, you don't have to give away all the secrets, but what's going to happen in the next few years? Where do you guys see this all moving?
Oh, well, at the moment, at least the feel that I have for it is that real-time rendering will be a larger part in architectural visualizations, mainly because what I hear from a lot of our architectural studios clients, they want more and more interactive experiences for their clients, and their clients really want to have the ability to observe every little detail of their images. So having a real-time solution would be a big deal, and bringing ray tracing to the place where it's almost real-time would also be a really big point. So our work speaks for itself. Vantage isn't something that just came out. It was.
I love Vantage.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I really can't make a very huge forecast because I don't know how far we can push things like artificial intelligence, and how far we can push the image creation by just prompting text. But for now, in the short term, I think things are going into a more type of a VR or real-time experience for people.
Cool. Does anyone here have any questions on this particular topic they'd like to ask, or anything they'd like to share? Maybe you know everyone.
I'd like to ask that quality threshold, because one thing that's been
You've got to hold the microphone.
having been doing this for a while, but I mean, one thing that's really been noticeable up until recently is that the quality threshold has kind of gone up and up and up and up, and now it's kind of plateaued. I mean, if you want to aim for photorealism, it's no longer quite as difficult to do as it used to be. So actually, that's not where you can differentiate yourself anymore. You have to differentiate yourself in terms of story and content. So I'm wondering how AI feeds into that. You know, I'm coming at it now from the client side, which I hadn't done before. We're using AI a lot in terms of actually informing design decisions and forms and shapes, but it's also kind of defining looks. I mean, it is very dependent on what keywords you throw at it, and some of the engines are more susceptible to like throwing particular artistic influence as well. So you can cite individual artists. You know, if you want to build your images to look like Hayes Davidson, you could throw Hayes Davidson as a kind of keyword, and it would all happen that way.
It's not a short question, is it?
No, I'm just having a reaction. It's like, because on that basis, it changes the palette of it, doesn't it, in terms of what AI can actually do for you.
Yeah, I think within terms of
so to interrupt, Vittorio, you've kind of moved away from kind of producing visualizations. You're kind of more going into artwork, that kind of stuff. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. I was working as an architect or visualizer, but I studied art. I studied Academy of Fine Arts in Rome. I work for theater, for the Teatro dell'Opera di Roma, which is the Lyric Theater in Rome. So I come from another different background. And I work as a 3D artist, visualizer, whatever. And I carried with me with purpose and this intention to make art. And I was making personal projects during these years, even when I was working with other companies. I was working at night. I was working basically probably 14 hours in the company, and then another 3-4 at night for my image. So this kind of hunger for projects, for giving messages, for giving something to the world, basically, it kind of translated into a passion I realized. I realized that my goal and my purpose was giving something. And when the NFTs came, I remember the night people saw his piece.
Crazy.
That was crazy. But
There's a famous video of him watching it with his family.
But that came later. Because the first thing it happened like a couple of months before. It was just a sale of 99 artworks for $300 each. But that got my attention because I was waiting for this. I waited a lot of years for getting, renderings. For me, I'm not renderings. For me, it's art. Obviously, not any rendering or 3D art is art, because we have a selection, we have an heritage, we have aesthetics, we have museums, curators. Art is something specific, It's not whatever is art. We can discuss this if you want, but there are some specific aesthetics in the world, and someone says that art is something, or commercially speaking, valuably speaking.
Yeah, I think there's. I mean, if you were to compare it to another industry, you could say, well, I write literature, and you're a great author, or I write for the Daily Mail, or maybe something better than the Daily Mail. But there's a difference. You're a writer, and for me personally, I've never been an artist. The process that I've enjoyed is helping other people, and kind of. I would always describe myself as a visualizer rather than a 3D artist, because I think there's no art in what I do day to day. There isn't. What I do is to do a great job, and I like to think I do it well. But there's no art. There's not really any art in it. How have you kind of risen above the kind of just doing illustration as opposed to being an artist? So, sorry, I'll rephrase it. So I would describe myself as an illustrator, not an artist. So how do you think you've moved on from being an illustrator to an artist?
I think in a way market recognize that value. So as far as you are brave enough to leave companies, to leave whatever salaries or stuff, believing in something which can be above visualizing with digital art or whatever other field, when you believe in something and you want to drop messages and your art contain messages, you're creating something different. You're creating something. You're creating something that can be inspirational for other people, and this sometimes brings the attention of curators, of museums, and you realize that you are involved in something bigger than you, and you keep going.
So I think we're going to wind it up, but before I do, I wanted to give the panel an opportunity to answer that same question. Because I looked at Lewis there, and he looked a little
Actually,
bit.
I have a question for Vittorio.
Okay, go on.
Can I feel like, yeah, you were talking about art and the way being in a company, for example, doesn't give you the chance to explore anything about in your artistry. So do you think, like, what do you think it makes a difference? Is it because you do art for yourself and then someone else recognizes that as art and wants that piece? And like the difference is because when you're a company, you already know the purpose on what it's going to be. So it's like a client thing. So it's kind of blocking you from explore anything because it's commissioned. But then what you do is for yourself, and then someone else appreciates it and buys it. So it's like it's the opposite way of having a client and then client becoming a client after.
I think art is everywhere, basically, in a base level. This layer is everywhere. There's many forms of art, but commercially speaking, and if you want to give a value to something which reflects into society, if you create something and then you sell it, it comes in a way, well, actually, this is a very huge panel discussion because art goes beyond the market, obviously. But I believe in the times we're living, there's many artists to be discovered, but there's many artists who raise their hands and they follow their path to kind of bridge into the marketplaces, into social media, and they are recognized as artists. And what the NFTs gave us, basically, the way I see it, they gave us a way and a concrete way to make something which was digital and was less valuable, more valuable, extremely valuable. Actually, you could sell what someone still call an image or a video into a piece of art, which can goes into Tate, which goes into MoMA. So I think, to answer your question, which is not easy, but in a way, in the time where we live in, to be an artist, you have to drop message, to convey message, to sell something, and to, at the very base layer, give something to the world. And obviously, in the productions, in the companies, it's about making profit, control the production, day rate and this shit, which I call. But it makes sense for the companies to keep everything under control. But sometimes you just go for a blue sky and some people laughing. So it's hard for a company, but I bet in the future we'll be more able to explore, even with Journey, AI, whatever, we'll be more able to explore before selling something, because we this is inspirational for ourselves, and sometimes artists can be frustrated, extremely frustrated, even if they don't think they are, if they keep being one-on-one into a company, making some, moving something, making skies, making trees, making all the same things ever. And this
So, do you
agree?
Do you have anything else that you'd like to add? Any kind of last comments?
Well, I'm probably going to be the most useless in this conversation because the first thing that I changed when Narrativ was made was the title. So none of us are 3D artists, we're creatives. Because I come from a design background and I started in VFX, doing commercial work and that sort of stuff. So the way I approach this is slightly different. I'm going to answer it in two sort of ways. So first of all, I'm, me personally speaking, not Narrativ. I'm a commercial artist through and through. I do no personal work whatsoever because I don't sort of, like if the perfect balance for me is the projects that I get as a commercial artist should satisfy the need I have as a creative to kind of express. So the need that I have as a...
I do really like that distinction there, artist versus creative.
Yeah.
It's artist, creative, illustrator. Creative is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we are, at the end of the day, we are interpreters of what the messaging needs to be. So we all, whether we like it or not, are in the business of visual communication, right? So we have an extensive set of tools that we use to convey emotion, to convey expression in a way where people who are not as visually literate as us try to describe things to us. We interpret what the message is, and then we give out a result through exploration, experience, our own sort of development, right? So, and this, once again, this is a very personal thing. I am very supportive of everyone else who goes through the journey of going and doing personal work and kind of have that sort of personal fulfillment that way. But the career path that I've sort of chosen for myself initially was supposed to fulfill all those aspects, because if I take on something that is taking my time, it needs to be something that is fulfilling for me. It's not a dead-end job or doing the same thing every day. This is not what I do. Otherwise, I would be excelling, or I would be an accountant, or would be something else. No disrespect to those careers, but it's a different sensibility, right? And in terms of, I guess, Narrativ, what we do is visual communication. So I guess the removal of the word artist was freeing in a way to whoever comes in, because there is a lot of weight to that word and there's a lot of expectation, and some people are able to thrive with the weight, of that title, but other people, and I've seen it in many cases, like some people came, when I was at Hayes Davidson, some people came in and they quit, not because they were sort of had any sort of pressures or undue sort of things. It was more a case of they created expectations for themselves. So if you remove that big word and that sort of big sort of acceptance of I'm an artist from the equation, then you're actually able to take elements from sister creative industries and be able to function as a full creative, right? So there is a problem. We're problem solvers at heart. The need that we have in whatever industry we do is to resolve a visual communication issue.
So you mentioned kind of nodding along. Do you broadly agree with that?
Do you?
No. Yes. I think as a whole, with the work that we're dealing with, I think, as you see, for many people, they see themselves from a junior to midway to senior of a fairly linear trajectory, which I think is more analogous to more, shall we say, corporate career paths. And I think it's very important to acknowledge there are a number of incredibly talented people that I've seen in my field be blocked or stopped at a certain point because they didn't necessarily match up to a point where, ironically, the better you are at a production point of view, perhaps more production and client-facing work you find yourself dealing with, client management, which isn't naturally what draws people to the work in the first place. So creating those roles as avenues that can really enhance a person's natural skill set, I think, is important for the industry to embrace, for different ways that people can progress as artists to make a better, more rounded creative output for the work that we're dealing with. So it's not all just a one-trick pony. We have a lot of artists that we're hiring at the moment which are particularly great because they come from wildly different industries. They're not from architecture, they come from VFX, film, video games, traditional illustration backgrounds, and it's those differences in skills, not because they have a clone copy of my skills, that I think will make our team better in the long run. And I think that's really where it's important to acknowledge where we go from here as an industry.
Nice, thank you. I'm going to wrap it up because it's 10. I would like a massive, massive round of applause for this very esteemed panel. So these guys will be around for a bit. I would like to just point out, if you want to carry on drinking, you can't here, but you can go around the corner to the museum tavern, and most people will be going there now, so hope to see you there. I'd also just like to do a quick thanks to Nigel. Nigel will be on to do this, and but he's organised it and brainstormed all of this stuff. So thank you. Next month, possibly we're going somewhere really cool. Stay tuned.
Yeah, what's up?
Factory 15 are also hiring producers and senior artists if anyone wants to talk to me.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice. Goodbye, and see you at the market bar just down the road.
Second bar!